years old. I am 8 years old. I go to school at Moi Forces. I go to school from Monday to Friday. I wake up at 5 a.m. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I don't know what Daddy wants me to be when I grow up. Yes, I love sports. Like football. Yes, I play football. Sometimes I play at school. Sometimes when I go with Daddy out. I play during break time, lunch time, and PE time. I love drawing. Reading and writing. I would like to learn to speak French because my daddy always speaks French.
Moi, je m'appelle Collins Kibet Yegon. J'ai 22 ans. À ce moment, je suis un étudiant à l'université Kenyatta en 4e année. Et quand même, je travaille en tant qu'enseignant de la langue française.
My name is Bright Obuyanzi. I am 20 years old. I'm a third-year student at Kenyatta University.
Je poursuis une licence en pédagogie, français et géographie. J'avais la chance d'aller à Starry Boys Center pour mes études secondaires de l'année 2017 jusqu'à 2020.
I pursue a bachelor's degree in education arts, French and theory. I went to Archbishop Njenga Girls in Lugari Sub-County, Kakamega County.
Pour moi, je voulais être un ingénieur, mais malheureusement, il y a des trucs qui n'ont pas marché. Alors, c'est comme ça que je me suis trouvé ici, poursuivant pédagogie.
When I was in high school, I wanted to become a nurse.
Alors, tout d'abord, c'était mes études. J'avais pas de bonnes notes dans mes examens de KCSO. Ça, c'est les examens qui auraient me permettre de poursuivre mes études supérieures, c'est-à-dire mes études universitaires. Et c'est comme ça que je ne me suis pas trouvé poursuivant l'ingénieur. Mais j'ai eu si j'aurais poursuivre le cours d'être ingénieur, j'aurais payé beaucoup d'argent que mes parents ne pourraient pas à ce moment-là, parce qu'il y avait des autres enfants qui ont été à l'école.
Stay outside the school. Apart from being a student, I do some side hustles. I am a hairdresser. I plait my fellow students here at school, and so they pay me some money. Also, I do some businesses. Where I sell some hair oils and also some perfumes. Yeah. It's just a way of earning a living, because while at school and also having stayed at school for some time, being dependent on parents, sometimes it's hectic. So for you to have like your own money, for you to have the comfortability of being able to do what you want to do and sort your needs, yeah, that's why I decided to like venture into some side hustles that will be helpful.
It's actually a dream that I had. I built by myself because of the various interests that I had. I had a dream of becoming an aeronautical engineer, but actually my parents wanted me to become a doctor, and I knew very well that was not going to sit comfortably with me. And so what I decided is I decided to drop biology so that they wouldn't force me to take me to a medical school when I complete my Form 4. That is it. So I dropped biology, hoping that I would pass in my KCSE and pursue engineering because they would see no other option for me. At the moment, I don't stay in school. I left. I stayed in school for during my first year, the 2 semesters, and then after that, I decided to move out to try life out there. Well, it's quite an interesting experience because it really needs a lot of balance between studies and working. Also, as I said earlier, I work as a teacher. I teach French in 2 schools around Nairobi. So on Monday and Tuesday, I go to one school, and then on Thursday and Friday, I work in another school, again teaching French. And it's not an easy task because there are times that you might find classes colliding with work, and now you have to find a way of making up for it. But because you need money to sustain yourself as a student, the parents cannot provide everything for you. You have your own things that you have to do, so you need your own money. That's why I have to find a way of balancing them. When I have an exam in school, I have to request from my boss to give me some time to sit for my exam, and then I shall make up for it at a later date. At the moment, I don't have anyone who is depending on me financially. Well, an interesting question. Normally I would take 2 meals a day, given that I don't actually get time for lunch, to be honest. It's not that we lack money for lunch, but I don't get time to take lunch. Of course, there is a time that you might run broke, which is normal as a student, because life of a student is not as easy. Yeah, it's not a walk in the park.
I can have 3 meals in a day, sometimes 1, sometimes 2, so it varies. But mostly on average, it's always 2. Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is a determining factor, sometimes it's the time limit that I have. Because I can have like a very hectic day where maybe in the morning I'll have to go to a morning class, then from there I have clients all the day till late in the night. Now, through that time I didn't have time to take even a meal. So that means I only have supper, then go to sleep. My typical menu is basically ugali for supper, ugali, like the skuma wiki, and maybe beef or eggs, just normally. Yeah.
Well, being broke as a student is the most terrible situation you can ever imagine, to be honest. Because at this point, I personally, as a 4th-year student, my parents really don't take me that seriously nowadays when it comes to financial matters. So if they are to send any upkeep, they would do that at the beginning of the month and then keep quiet until the end of the month. So if I interrupt in the middle of the month, they'll just maybe ignore it somehow. But I think that has helped me grow and it has also challenged me to explore other things, to realize that I can do something for myself.
Okay, during my free time, it's actually maybe just some place out with my friends to go discover some new places, just enjoy the nature around, just make stories. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm on YouTube trying to learn some new trends, keeping up with the new trends in the hairstyles. Yeah, that's what I do most of the time. Or I'll just be sitting alone, maybe just reflecting on some things. Yeah. So.
The extra time that I do not use for any other thing, or when I'm tired of reading or doing any other thing, that's when I can go to friends. Or if we make plans, I'm simply going to adhere to it. Yeah. Well, there are a number of reasons why my ambitions have changed from my childhood up to the moment. One of them being as I said, my academic performance in high school, and that really blocked my passage into aeronautical engineering. But apart from that, I also I was called to take another course in engineering that really did not interest me that much. I had a chance to study software engineering, but my parents really had an impact on it. They were against it, and some I felt guilty of going against their desires and their wishes. They persuaded me to come and pursue French, which I performed quite well in my KCSE. And so I gave in. I conformed to their wishes. And I would say, when I came to study this language in the campus, I realized that I had a whole different passion apart from engineering. And I realized that I can really fit best in places such as I say, in diplomacy, for instance, because I've really found a whole new interest in politics, economic issues all over the world. And that's what has contributed to me right now wanting to pursue a career in diplomacy and international relations.
Yes, my family has expectations from me when I graduate, because parents, like just like any other parent, educating a student is like your own child is like an investment, because they have put in the money, they have given you all that you require for you to learn. So they have some expectations that after finishing the studies, you can be able to lend a hand to them, to help them, because they have put in a lot. They have educated me right from when I was young. So after completing studies, at least they will want to like have a relief where I will at least relieve them of some burden. Yeah. Sometimes partly it's a burden and partly it's like a driving force, because I tend to sit down and ask myself, because now I'm at school, then my parents have some expectations of me. So what am I doing that will make me, after I'm done with this school, I can at least be able to like cater for some of these expectations that they have. On some other part, it becomes some like sort of pressure, because what if it doesn't come out as they all intend it to be? So just in the balance. My ambitions after finishing school, I have quite several. Of course, I want to like finish school and graduate first with my first degree. I want to like finish my first degree. After I finished my first degree, I have an ambition of, I want to have my own business. I want to open my own business, because being a business person, I would like also to have like to establish some businesses for myself. I would like to like, because since I'm taking French, I also want to like venture into some of these possibilities that French has for me. So that's basically it. First of all, it's like, because after having finished my KCSE exams, the results were out. Then the results coming out, I didn't meet the requirements of being a nurse, so that meant I had to go back to the drawing board and think of something else that I would do. Actually, by then I didn't have anything in mind, but my parents told me, why not try education? And so I was selected for the education course. I wasn't really ready. I didn't know if I really wanted to take it, but I just said, okay, we plan, God decides, so why not give it a try? So that was it, and I found myself here.
If it were possible for me to go back in time and talk to my younger self, I would really advise myself on very many things. First of all, to do my best at the moment, and to always do my best, and to focus on the goals that you have, so that you do not get swayed by the external factors. So I would really advise myself to focus on realizing my ambitions.
So if it was possible for me to go and talk back to my younger self, I will tell myself that it gets better with time, and time as a way of making things become better. So let us just trust the process, and yeah, it will eventually get better.
My name is Moshel Onam. I'm 33 years old. I tend to hesitate because in the next two to 3 months, I'll be turning 34. But yeah, I'm 33. I'm married. I have a wife and 2 children and 1 adopted girl. So basically, I have 3 children. Yeah. Well, I went to high school in at Our Lady of Fatima. It's a school in Kariobangi, Nairobi, Kenya. One of the not so affluent areas. So it's a school I really take a lot of pride in, because the environment and ultimately what myself and a lot of my friends amounted to is quite an inspiration to me. Yeah, so from my school I proceeded to Jomo Kenyatta University. I think my only spell out of Nairobi in school. Otherwise I've studied in Nairobi through and through. Starting off when I was young, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I'm one who got so good in arguments, and actually I very easily weaseled my way out of trouble in high school because of that character. Yeah, and there was a phase again, transition from law into engineering, but football was being a footballer was a constant in all those. So I think I probably figured I could be a lawyer and a footballer at the same time, or an engineer and a footballer at the same time. But yeah, went from law and then I did focus on engineering. Well, high school was, masked quite a lot with my childhood notions. So much as things were difficult, lack here and there of some essentials, things you see your peers with, it was masked by that youthful bliss. The feeling that the self-assurance that everything will be okay. But basically speaking, there was the hard phase that was characterized with lack of proper shoes to go to school with, or mornings where I'd go to school without breakfast, and being in a community that was not affluent, so to say. Affluence is even an overstatement given the circumstances, because there was the community, then there's the middle class, and then this affluence. So it was far from affluence, so not so good a setup to be in. So there was the hardships associated with that kind of life, but then again there was the youthful bliss that always reassured me. Campus, on the other hand, was a little bit of a hope, because I made it. I went from high school to campus, so with the mentality that most Kenyans have. You go from high school, transition into campus, then there's hope for you that ultimately you get a satisfying job and realize your dreams. So campus was characterized with a little bit more hope, with substance behind it, but still not that easy. There was the life of having to go to the mess early for that chapati. For that chapati and beef stew, if you enter a little bit late, then you're condemned to rice and beans. And yeah, those the difference. You see, chapati and beef is quite different from rice and beans. And of course, I'm saying that speaking within a cultural context. I mean, expectations were the main highlight of my life. I talked of a desire to be a footballer, and to date I still feel that is something I could have realized, but then came expectations from my family. In most Kenyan families, you leave schooling and focus on sports, you are a lost cause. Yeah, so yeah, they did have expectations that were sustained well into my days in campus, and they believed that being a firstborn, I will be the one to come and ultimately lift up my siblings, start off by showing them the example, and then come and shoulder some of the financial burden that my parents were facing. Definitely. In campus, there was the realization that I'm now a grown-up. I'm being looked up to. So there was the burden of being a good example for my siblings, and then there was the burden of coming up and now picking up some of this burden. And I quite literally lived it in campus, because I remember having to use part of my help money to pay my brother's school fees, who was in Form 4 at the time, and happened to be sent home during a period when I was on my long holidays. And thankfully, my disbursement came in when I was home, and just seeing him cry and show the despair at that moment made me step up. And now you see, witnessing that is quite different from having to live with the idea in mind that you are going to have to come up and pick this up. Yeah, so it did have an impact on me. Yes, I do have a job, thankfully. I've worked different places, but presently I'm at Cigna Healthcare, and for me it's a good thing, because I'm working in a company that has allowed me growth. I've been with the company for 4 years, and I think I've grown in ways one wouldn't expect in any other organization. So yeah, I have a job, and one that I feel so comfortable being in. But of course, I do have ambitions. I've grown career-wise, but I'm feeling it's not where I want to be. I'll of course want to push further and further. So I'm trying to leverage the fact that I'm bilingual. I'm hoping I can make that multilingual. At least have, aside from English and French, another language to go with it, and then advance myself education-wise and transition into fields that will allow me even further growth. Well, I'm not a lawyer. It's evident by now. But yeah, life gives you, puts you in different situations that you have to make do with. I've always been quick with math, and I think it inspired the transition from law into engineering. But now, I was faced with different circumstances, and I have to adjust accordingly. Presently, I have a family, and that is one of the aspects that, make me want to push from ends different to what I had in mind growing up. I cannot, be stringent on certain goals. I have to morph with changes in my life, and the fact that I now have to take care of a family, and the fact that I have to step up for even my family means that I have to pick up other ambitions and push and try and realize them to the best of my ability. It's a tricky one, because like I said, I would have wanted to be a footballer at some time. It's one of the things I believed the most that I would have realized had it not been for the pressures of expectations from my parents. But I'm hoping whatever my child wants to be, he will first of all embrace education. If he wants to be a footballer, let him go and be a footballer. I'll do my best to help him realize that but education comes first. And this is the essence. Huh? I'll take him to the practices, I'll buy him any supplies he needs for football. But he must show some level of literacy. I've witnessed so many, and growing up in an environment that has contributed to the, I think the better percentage of Kenyan footballers. I'll name a few. Michael Olunga, I've seen them in my hood coming up the ranks, and I believe it's an environment that really cultures children in that area. But I mean, save for him, who of course I have known has gone through, the formal educational setups, and of course demonstrates one of the most disciplined careers. There's so many others that I will call out that have not, stepped up beyond, their footballing achievements, and I wouldn't want that for my son. So if he wants to be a footballer, well and good, but he must achieve some level of literacy that will even help him manage himself financially. You won't be a sports person past your, let me say mid-30s. Yeah, if you're past your mid-30s, then it's a stroke of luck. Yeah.
True that. So finally, given a chance of you seeing yourself back in campus, if you're given that chance to go back and see yourself, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, during my days in campus, I was sort of in a cocoon of my own. I didn't get to tear out of the cocoon and spread my wings and fly. And I feel it sort of limited me. This is the censor. There's some things that I try to do for myself now and for my family that I would have done with greater ease back when I was in campus. First of all, I would have advised my younger self to get into the world and look for opportunities, try to explore employment, and I've seen so many people do it while they study. It will have given me greater leeway to build myself into spaces that will allow me to take more advantage of the opportunities that come my way. So I feel I'm progressing well. I don't want to complain much, but to my younger self, I'd say push yourself more. Bon, en fait, pour les retraits, je leur ai demandé quelles sont les choses qu'ils aimeraient changer. C'est la même chose que tu viens de me demander. Quelles sont les choses qu'ils aimeraient changer dans leur vie, encore jeune, dans leur jeunesse. Hein? Quand même, j'aimerais les demander si peut-être on les donne l'option de se jeter dans les affaires au lieu d'être employés. Que serait leur choix?
Lighten up, take me on your magic river. Tell me all your dreams align. Sign me up and tell me about the people that you know who are trying to feel alive.
My name is Kengori Wawa Dobio. I'm 69 years old and looking forward to next year, 7th floor. I work, but not for a living. I have worked for a living for many years, but from about 5 or so years ago, I work just because the work I do is interesting. I travel a lot and I like traveling, so that's why I keep working. Yeah. My daily routine now is rather easy. because I would say I'm semi-retired. So when I'm not out on a mission, I'm living I live in here at Le Pristine, and so I wake up like 7, 8, take a little bit of herbal concoctions, a mug or two of herbal concoctions or soup, bone soup, and then I go for a morning walk. So it was 2 hours or so of morning walk, come back, shower, relax, and take lunch, do a bit of supervision of ongoing works in the hotel, and by towards evening I get a book. I take a book and read, and by sundown I sit at the veranda with the book and a glass of wine for sundown, and dinner and bed. Like any other child in our days, and you're talking of the 60s, one aspired to be a professional. I remember the most common one was a pilot, a doctor, an engineer. Somehow I gravitated towards engineering. So because I was doing okay in sciences, maths, physics, I gravitated to engineering. I would not say that it's me as such who really aspire to be an engineer. As I alluded just before, I was good in mathematics in school. So in primary school, did well in mathematics. In secondary school, did well in mathematics and other sciences, physics and chemistry, and automatically good in the sciences. Then you did a technical course, and for an MPC major, engineering was the choice, more or less. For those who had biology and chemistry, doctor was the choice. So I ended up because of MPC. Those days we used to call it manpower combination. Math, physics and chemistry. Yeah. After secondary school, again excelled in maths, physics and chemistry. Went to, at that time there was A levels from 5 and 6, where I majored now in maths, physics and chemistry, and went to University of Nairobi, to do civil engineering. Yeah? And University of Nairobi was 76 to 79. Then I started working. After like 3 years of working, I got a scholarship to the United States to do a master's in civil engineering. So yes, I have formal education up to master's in engineering. After university, I joined government. That time, you're talking 1979, the biggest employer for professionals was the government. So I joined the government in the Ministry of Water Development. That's where I did most of my professional development and engineering, planning, designing, constructing, and even managing water supplies. And at that time, water service provision was central in government, so we were managing it as the ministry. And we got to a point where one had to make some decisions that, or was expected to make decisions that were not, at least for me, not in line with my values, and we were expected to not work professionally, but work, let me put it bluntly, corruption set in. And in a ministry like I was in, I was expected to make decisions that would move resources from where they were expected to be, like constructing water projects for Kenyans, to divert resources into private pockets. That did not go very well with my values, and so I actually walked out of government and went into private practice as a consultant. And I have been consulting in development, rural development especially, widening my scope from just water development to irrigation systems, rural roads, rural infrastructure like markets, and all manner of infrastructure that communities need to do their development, especially in the agricultural sector. So that's what I've been doing since year 2000 to date, where I say I am semi-retired. I have narrowed down my consultancy clients. In the earlier days, I would consult for all manner of NGOs, UN organizations such as the World Bank, UNICEF, UNDP, and my favorite client, who I still consult for up to now, has been the International Fund for Agricultural Development in many parts of Africa, different countries in Africa. And I'm still doing it for IFAD up to now.
Oh, I applied my career, my training first and foremost. My training is in people organization and people management and leadership, and making resources work together efficiently. So, and then I also have an extensive career in public health. So like most of the public health functions in this hotel, I run them. I do things like the fumigation, ensuring that the public areas are sanitary, ensuring that waste disposal is done properly, ensuring that the health and safety regulations are adhered to. And basically when I am here, the public health office knows that I am here. So I don't get to have the rigorous inspection by government offices, because they know I am here on their behalf. Yes. The other thing that I really use in my career is people skills, because social work teaches you to have a lot of intuition, to understand people, to help people articulate themselves, to articulate their issues. So it's something that I use a lot with the workers. I've also had a very extensive career in mental health and addiction. So I am able to help people to navigate different situations. So I would say that because of that training and that background, I'm able to help people to go through very emotional situations. And then right now, because we are a health and healing hotel, I feel like I am the champion I am very, very keen to see how the whole program pans out. What are we calling wellness? How do people come together? What do they feel when they come? What do they feel when they are here? What features, what different methods of healing are we applying in this hotel? And eventually, as we go into a year, I look forward to sitting in conferences, sharing these experiences, sharing with different healers the methods that they use for healing naturally, and to have this hotel affiliated as a healing hotel of the world. I cannot wait for next year, like the Healing Summit. I think it's in Indonesia, to sit and tell people how we've built this hotel into a healing and wellness hotel. The experience I've used to heal myself from cancer is definitely something that I would like to share with the world. How calmness and positivity and nature has assisted in my healing and sustained healing, for that matter.
I would say one for Pristine, I have brought that expertise of the engineering in general, and to set up, to think through how to make it a destination that people would want to come to and continue wanting to come. The biggest contributor is that in engineering, when you are an engineer, you learn to think logically. You learn to vision, because you are expected to plan, say, a water project. You are planning it now, but you want it to be able to deliver 30 years from now, 50 years. So you have to think and imagine how it would look like. So similarly, when we got Pristine, I had to think through how I would want it to be ultimately, as a place to live, as a destination, as a space where people will come and feel good. And feel a sense of wellness and heal, if I can use the word. So I have combined now the work I've done in rural development to bring in the mix of different aspects, such as the greenery that you will see in Pristine, the flowers and the beautiful shrubs and all that you encounter in the rural Kenya or in rural Africa as you traverse the countryside. I have been able to bring in the different trees and shrubs and all manner of vegetation that is found out in nature, and I've put a lot of it here. In the Arboretum here we have more than 250 species of indigenous trees and shrubs. Get a good job, get married and have a family, and support your parents and your other siblings or relatives who may need your support. So the biggest expectation was that you would get into a job, and again you work and excel in the job, become a big person in wherever you are, and support whoever else you in the immediate family, the clan, and it's that expectation. For instance, in my case, was I failed in that when I said I am going to stop working for government to go out on my own. My father, who was a retired civil servant, and my father-in-law, also a retired civil servant, could not understand why I would leave a senior government job to go out and struggle. The expectation was I would work, be senior in government, and retire with a pension. So I was leaving employment at age 45. I wasn't going to get a pension, and they were actually pressing me to hang on to get to the age of 50 so that I can take early retirement so that I can get a pension. So yes, the expectations were there. Yeah. Not really, because like I said, that was the way life was structured that time. You're expected to work hard in school, get a good job, support your parents and your parents, your uncles, whoever. Once you have a good job and you are successful. Yeah, so it wasn't a burden, it was something that I knew. It's like an obligation. It was an obligation, so it was not a burden. Yes, I have two children. A boy who is no longer a boy, is a man, and a girl who is no longer a girl. It's a woman and a mother of two beautiful girls. So I have children and grandchildren. Yes. The answer to that is no, but I persuaded at least the boy to do engineering. Not because I wanted him to have a career in engineering, but because, like I alluded there before, in engineering, you were taught to think logically, to be analytical. And while he didn't want to do, he wanted to do other things, I did prevail on him to do engineering with the understanding that if you do engineering, you can do any other course or you can pursue any other career outside engineering. But if you do, say, like you wanted to do media or something or that, and later you feel like you would want to do engineering, you would not easily do engineering. But with engineering, you could go into other things. And he did a degree in electronics and computer engineering. But as we're talking, he's a big media consultant. So yes, that's the much I would say I prevailed upon. The girl, she did an apprentice or internship in a company that I had that was in doing graphics, and she wanted to do graphics design, and she went to university to do it, but somewhere along the line she felt it's too complicated. She went into mass communication, and that's what she has been doing.
Somehow, as a family, we kept on talking to our children about their own career paths. And at the age of 6, I think Nyambura was 6, and Ofyu was, I think, 7 or 8. We had them sit down and write their own career aspirations. And they still have those papers, those pieces of papers they wrote. It was so surprising to look at them. And we encouraged them to do whatever it is that they wished at that young age. Nyambura aspired to be, by the age of 35, should be a lawyer somewhere in Manhattan. I mean, she was very, very clear about what exactly she wanted. Wadovio, we call him Ofio. He had a very, very clear career path. He would be a technical person, he would have a family, he would have 2 children. So we encourage them in whatever it is that they dreamt. Yes.
No, I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud of them. They have been able to carve their way in. Now they're chosen fields, and by coincidence, they are both now in media. One from the mass communication side, and the other one from the more technical aspects of media, like content creation, whatever. Those things make sometimes I don't even understand what they do, but they are doing well there in their respective areas.
I feel very fulfilled, and I also feel that I guided them and allowed them to just dream for themselves.
That's not an easy one. I would tell myself to just focus on what is being taught, because as a young person, you really have very little choice at what you are taught. The curriculum and the lesson plans and stuff are made by people who you have no control over. So I would just focus, whatever is you are being taught, focus on it and move on. You'll be able to make independent decisions in your adult life. But in school, just focus. And you have no much choice over what is drummed into yourself, which is actually, in a sense, unfortunate, because our schooling system is so much focused on academics at the expense of other skills like life skills. Nobody teaches life skills in school, anywhere in school, from primary to you're just drummed into academics, formulas, geography, history. But life is much more than just the academics. The life skills, how to live with other people, how financial literacy. Nobody teaches financial literacy, which these are the very important skills in somebody's life, but they are not taught. You have to grapple your way around. You have to kind of train yourself how to maneuver through life. A lot of people don't manage to do that, and they fall off in the life journey. Those who search and learn and explore get to figure out how to to maneuver through life. They teach yourself financial literacy, for instance, social skills, how to. Then you are able to move up. But it's something one has to truly search for themselves, because nobody teaches you. If I was to recommend, the curriculum in schools should include life skills from primary school. Yeah.
If I was to talk to my younger self, I think I'll still pat myself on the back and I say, stick to your dreams. Stick to your dreams. Don't get distracted. Just be what you are aspiring to be, because that is what has helped me. Whereas everyone wanted me to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a social worker, and that has worked grossly. I think I would also tell myself to dream big. And I think that thing that I will remind myself is that if I have good role models, follow them. Because at every stage of my career, I was telling you earlier that I really admired my mother. She was courageous, she was a leader, she was brilliant, she was fearless, she was bold, she was enlarging. I took that part. And I looked at her and I followed those steps. I looked at my father. He was a very, very strong professional. He was very supportive and very diligent in whatever he did. And my older sister was my role model because I used to read with her when she was doing her Form 4. I was doing my Class 7. So I always used to stick to her. When I first visited her, when I was in primary school, I went to the university. I was like, I would want to be in the university in my own room like this. So if you are people who are doing good, I admired my sisters and my brothers for different things that they were. Yes, and I was a very, very, very good learner. Yeah. And also dream large. When I did my Form 6, I was the best in my school. And I learned how not to take a second position. But I'm a very, very good loser as well. But I know how to stick to the top. Yes, diligently. I'll sit in class in front because I believe that when I sit in front, I hear everything. I learn everything. I ask all the questions that I want to ask. I don't have an opportunity to sit at the back and anything passes. So just sit in front and ask questions and learn from everyone. My own lecturers, I had very, very good lecturers, and that time you would get lecturers from the US, professors. I would just look at them and I would aspire to be them, because I would see a very little woman coming from the US. She's a professor, and I'm like, I would want to be the top of the range in this. Yeah. So I always learned from the best. Sat in front. Yeah.
It's not that simple. It's not that simple because the business world is a very complicated space. To start and build an organization is a very complex space. So while the job may not be paying as well, what I would advise somebody is to, one, improve on your skills to do your job better, to get a better chance of earning more, while thinking through a side hustle, which you could start when you are still working. So it has to be something or a hustle that does not steal into your employer's time, and you can be able to do it in your free time and, very importantly, enjoy doing it. If you don't enjoy doing it, it is not going to help you much. You enjoy doing it, you build it to a point where it's giving you some extra income and it's showing promise of growing, at which stage you can then be able to leave employment to give it now time to grow it to now where it can be, it can grow into whatever you want it to be, a multinational or whatever it is. Yes.
The first thing that the first conversation that I would have with an employee is the lessons that I learned long time ago from, I think, my parents, was that if you get 3 shillings, used to save one. So I learned how to save when I was a very, very small girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just save. And going into business, start early, make all the mistakes. I think I've ventured into like 30 businesses. Between myself and my husband, we've done anything and everything. We've ran matatus, we have had liquor store, we have had all manner of businesses. Just be bold. That 1 shilling that you're hiding, you're keeping, is your shilling. Just use it to do business. Because if you wait until you are older or until you retire, then you get very intimidated by business. And failure in business will just destroy you. You'll have put your money there and it will destroy you. If you started early and if you, whatever, you're very courageous because you've made all the mistakes. Yes. But I would really encourage even employees to just do a business. These days, there are very many businesses that people can do, even if it is digital marketing or online shop or whatever. Things that you can befit your age and time, but do business altogether. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a feeling that is I really cannot fully express, given that I am living and will continue to live in the pristine and an environment that is truly what I always dreamt of being in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Although for dreaming, you don't dream one day and assume I'm dreaming for the entire life. You keep dreaming. So it's like you dream in stages. You know, in this part of my life, this is my dream. In this other part of my life, this is my dream. So, but all the dreams that I have dreamt, aspirations that I've had, I've always seen them come together. If it was my aspiration to be a career person and a leader, I have done it in the whole world. I've run programs in the whole world, in Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Sudan, in Uganda, in Tanzania, everywhere, in the world, in Australia, in India, in the US. I have seen that part of my professional life very, very, very fulfilled. I have assisted this country to put together community development guidelines. I was part of the people who developed the first community strategy, community health strategy that is used in this country. So aspiring to be a thought leader, a change leader, that part has been very, very fulfilling.